So now it's recording. Okay, so we're making a recording out of this, and we'll see what we're making. I think
Okay.
what we're going to see is what I'm seeing right now, which is a box that's taking up about half of the screen that has your face and my face, and then the screen behind it. So in the case of what you're doing with her, or what you're planning on doing with her, you could have you can have this. Um, I'm going to put this. I'm going to put a web browser behind us, and then I'm going to go to the TLC channel. And there's my 600-pound life. Um, and we would go to, so they're not even like listed. I wasn't, if I did a search here for my feet are killing me. Oh, I am seeing something now. I didn't see that yesterday. And that's their page. So this is what you've seen, right?
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Okay. So let me see if I can get our faces back here, because I'm not sure where our faces went. There we
Yeah,
are.
my image looks different than what you described. So what I'm seeing so far, I don't know that this will matter, but there's our two screens are up on the top, maybe the top, I don't know, quarter of the screen,
Okay.
and then the rest of it is the TLC webpage.
Is that resizable at all? Is the our faces, can you resize them?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. It can let me open. So now I resize it so we're giant and the web page is really small.
Okay. And can you do the opposite where you're small and the web page is big?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm recording this and I'm resizing that window, and I can make it anywhere from, like we're side by side, like maybe an eighth of the screen, or I can make us side by side like a quarter of this. Yeah, there's a bunch of different varieties here. And it's
Yeah,
set,
I'm gonna guess it's recording your screen rather than mine. It would be my guess.
I think so. I'll find out
Yeah.
later. But I'm wondering if it's just recording what I'm sharing with you, which is just my desktop, or the two faces. And it's probably you can probably set this. So I'm in the window. I'm playing with the window now where the two faces are, and I have something selected that's called View Everyone. I can change that to view who's talking. I can change that to view presenter, or I can even hide the webcams. So that's those are those choices. And then for the webcams, there's choices of, well, stop sharing, hide my webcam, hide all webcams, always in front is one that you'd probably want to set if you wanted the faces both visible. Um, those are the choices there, and it looks like I can just take a screenshot. So yeah, we'd have to actually, since it's recording our narration, let me make some changes here. So I'm gonna go from view everyone to view who's talking. So it's looking at me now. Now you say something.
Okay, so yeah, so mine just changed over where like I'm highlighted green.
Yep.
But so I'm still seeing both of us and the screen below. It's not just like showing me and then showing you.
Say that again.
You're so right now what I'm seeing is both of us
Right.
and then the TLC page below, but the rim of the video changes to green when I'm speaking and then changes back when you are.
Okay. And now that I'm speaking, are you seeing me?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing you the whole time actually.
Oh, okay.
It's not changing that.
Okay. So what that setting that I did is only affecting what I see, not what you see.
Right.
So
And
you
that might be all that matters, considering if it's being recorded on the presenter's view.
right, you don't want to distract her anyway with this. You just want to, record what you want to record. So in
Right.
that window where you see our faces, are there selections up at the top? Is there a box that says, are there any like choices?
Well, not within our individual screens. I just have what looks like a pause and like a close button on the image itself,
Okay.
and then I can see the control panel as well. If I can minimize that or enlarge it.
Right.
Um,
You may be able to control some of this from, but it actually doesn't matter what you're seeing because you're going to be in my position when you're interviewing her.
right.
So what you're seeing, actually, I'm going to show you what you're seeing using Snagit. So, so at the upper right of the screen, do you see a box that just popped down with a red button on it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the first part of the lesson on Snagit. So that's the capture widget. That's always like a little tab on the top of your screen. And when you put your mouse over it, it pops down like this. And when you click the red button, it's going to let you do a screen capture. And this is how I'm going to show you what I'm seeing here. Okay, so I'm going to click the red button, and I'm not sure what you're going to see here. It takes a little while for this to pop up. I got a lot of things running right now on my computer, so it's kind of slow, but let's just give it a second. And then you see a crosshair? You see the cross?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm seeing.
oh,
It looks like your screen had like grayscaled for a minute, and then now I see the target.
that's exactly what happened. And unfortunately, I can't show you what I wanted to show you because it disappeared when I started the screen capture. I wanted to
Okay.
show you the video box with the controls, with our two faces, but computers being what they are, it made that disappear. So I'm just going to
Okay.
show you how you do a screen capture. So you move this to where you want to move it to, and then you hold the mouse down. You do a left click and drag, and then you click and drag. Notice for fine control, um, there's this sort of binnacle here, like this circle,
Yeah.
and it lets you do kind of fine control as to where you're ending the capture. And then as soon as you're happy with what you've outlined, you let go of the mouse, and then you see this. And you can continue to change this if you want. If you didn't capture exactly what you want, you can expand it, you can contract it. When you're ready, it's telling you how big the image is, or you can click X to redo it. Or if you're ready to capture the image, you click the this camera over here. If you wanted to do a video, you would click the video, and then it would start recording video in that box. So this is a great thing. Actually, my programmer uses this all the time to show me the way to use a website, because in that video window you can then operate the website, and you're taking a video of it, and it's recording the sound, and then he shows me what he just demonstrated on the computer.
Wow, that's cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and complete this capture, and then in a second the Snagit editor pops up, and that's the second part of Snagit. So the first part was um, the capture widget, and the second part is the editor. And now you see the captured image that you made. And a couple of things I want to point out here. So every image that you ever captured gets stored in this program. And you can even search those. So this becomes a storage of images that will end up being very useful for you,
Hmm.
because anytime that you wanted to capture something, it's going to save that, so you can you can search for something that you captured a year ago. Um, so so now we're in the editor window, and you can do all kinds of things with this picture that you captured. So these are all your tools up at the top. So let's say you wanted to send this image to someone and point out something. So yeah, I'm going to just minimize the GoToMeeting thing, and I'm actually going to push the video window that just popped up. So I selected arrow up here. We're going to go through all these tools, but here are your arrows, and any one of these kind of images that it lets you add to an image is infinitely adjustable. So so you pick the default arrow that you want. You just pick something that's as close to what you want as possible from these selections. And I'm going to pick this one. And you go over here to the image and you drag it, and that's your arrow, just like that.
Okay.
Everything that you add to a picture remains editable unless you tell it not to. So so this is editable. I can go off of it, and then I can click onto it, and it's now editable again. And you can change this arrow in a lot of different ways. So I'm going over here to the tool properties on the right side, and let's say, so I have that selected, and let's say I want to make it wider. I go like that and make it wider. In real time, you see how you want to change it. You can change the opacity of it. So if you want to see the picture through it, you can do that.
That's cool.
And there's other things like in the size. I don't change this. Oh, this just changes the size of the pointer at the end of the arrow. And mind you, this is still editable. So you've changed it, but you can still move it. You can also, swing it around. You can, so, one other thing I wanted to show you is that it has a little bit of a drop shadow on it. It's kind of a style effect. The drop shadow is straight down. You can change the orientation of the drop shadow, and you can change the size of the drop shadow to get different effects. But where was that? I'm not sure where that is. Oh, this changes the type of arrow. Yeah. So I'm not sure where you change drop shadow, but anyhow, that's an arrow, and that's something that I use really frequently. Because let's say I wanted to point out this TLC logo. So I would put an arrow there, and then I'd go to the text tool, and then we pick some text. So again, I picked the simplest one because I'm going to be changing it anyway. And for the text tool, you drag kind of like a bounding box, and then you start typing into it. Now I'm typing black text in a black box, so I don't see it. So I'm gonna make this white text, and then when I type, I see it. And then you select that text, and this has qualities just like typing in Word. So it's going to go down to the next line, and if you select all of it, if you want to make this left justified, you go up here, and it's left justified now. There's all these different controls.
It looks a lot like Word.
It's a lot like Word, purposely made to be a lot like Word to make it easy. So you can change the size of the text, and you can change the color of the text here. We'll make it red, and all of that to whatever you want to say about what you're pointing to. You can put text on a page. Other things here, let's see, we're selecting our text again. Yeah, all these are all the different, you can make it italics. You move that around. So that's text. I use, actually I'm not using callouts too much, so but I'll just show you this briefly. So these are the selection of callouts, and callouts are little shapes that you present text in. So, for example, we'll try that one, and we'll go like this. We'll make a call out, and you can drag that over here, and then, so that was actually another way of doing what we did here, and maybe I should use call outs more. Um, yeah, you demonstrate something and you end up learning about it. That's pretty good.
Right,
Um,
right.
when these things are active, you can click on different types and change them. So that's another type of call out without an arrow. This is a type of call out with an arrow. That's call outs. I use shapes a lot because a lot of times I'm wanting to like point something out on a picture. So I use this sort of outline. And let's say I wanted to point out the word feet here. So I would go there and then select it and make the thickness a little broader. And then all of a sudden I've surrounded it, and it's very easy for me to drag my arrow over here and show someone something that I've surrounded. Um, they have this in a few different shapes, so you can make a big round thing. You can make you can use this shape, which you keep on changing like this, and then you double click on it to release it. So these are shapes, and also if you want to just demonstrate like sometimes something on the screen is not um, showing up enough, and I want to point it out. So let's say this arrow over here wasn't showing up well because it was very similar in color to the background. So I go like this. I put a square shape behind it, and then I right click on this, and you go to this thing called Arrange. And each of these objects is in sort of a layer. So right now, the white square is on top of or in front of the arrow. So I say send backward, and it put it behind this oval, but it didn't put it behind the arrow. So I have to send it backward again. I'm going to send it further backward, and no, it's not back enough. So I have to I send it further backward, and that for some reason is not going behind. So I'm going to say send to back, and then now it's far back enough so it's under the arrow. So that's kind of handy to arrange these things when they're overlapping, and and do that kind of thing. Let's go on.
This is really similar to so I've done the same similar kind of thing in a more difficult way using PowerPoint. So like I've copied a picture, you put it on PowerPoint, and then you adjust it and you retake a picture to finalize it. But this is really much more convenient than that.
You can put objects on the screen with PowerPoint and move them around, and you can bring them forward or bring them back, put them behind things. PowerPoint's actually got a lot of video capability.
Yeah.
And actually Ben learned on Photoshop. And Photoshop, 10 years ago was a fairly, I wouldn't say it was simple, but it was easy enough that someone like me could learn maybe 20% of it. It got so that I don't even know 1% of Photoshop now. But this program, Snagit, you can master, and I can do every single thing that I used to do with Photoshop on this without mastering a more difficult program. That's what
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't use Photoshop either.
it got too complicated. My guys here are, they probably know 20% of Photoshop and they do amazing stuff with it. Or maybe I'm selling them short, um, but this program does everything that I need to do in graphics easy enough that it's easy to use. Um, and you'll be amazed at how this is going to empower you as a writer and an editor. Because now anything that you see on your laptop screen, you can take a snapshot of, manipulate, and use. So let me just give you, this is going a little bit lateral, but I'm excited to show you how you now, so you made this image now. Now I'm going to show you all the stuff you can do with it. So the easiest thing is you're going to copy it, and now you're going to bring up your email program, and you're going to go over here, and then you're going to paste it into an email. So all of a sudden, you can send any image, any part of your screen in an email that easily. Okay? Let's go back. Let's go back to the editor. I just want to see who just texted me. Okay. Okay. Let's go back to the Snagit editor and go up here to this share link. And this is going to show you all this other stuff that you can now do. So you can now take this image that you made and you can open it in Word. You can open it in PowerPoint. You can save it to do you use Dropbox or Google Drive?
Both.
So you set these up so that it's linked to your account and you can automatically save, just very easily save this.
Wow. Okay.
What did I find here recently? I guess Dropbox moved to the front. That's good. Oh, I know what I found, which was great. This blew my mind. So you want to share something on your screen. Let's say you're watching a YouTube video and you want to share that video with someone. Watch how easy this is. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to call up the first video I see. And now this video is playing on my screen, okay?
Which came out about...
So I'm going to go to Snagit, and I'm going to go to a video capture. Actually, there's two ways to do this. I think you can just click the red button. The cursor is here. I'm going to save this.
With Bill Skarsgård.
Okay. And now I'm going to click on record a video here. Are you seeing that?
See that? And I
just oh, that's way cool.
So it's initially, let's give it a minute because apparently there's a lot to process here.
He's one of the funniest, nicest guys in the world.
I don't think it's recording yet. This is taking a little while.
Terrifying. Like he'll be talking to you about music or
I think the problem with this is that we have the webcams going.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
I think I understand what you're talking about, that you can actually record the video.
That's right.
That's amazing. I love it. It's so hard to get videos off the net.
That's right. Exactly right. Okay, you know what? If we didn't have the video going with GotoMeeting, this would work just fine. But it's okay. So I'm going to take it off. But what you would see is it would start recording the video. You may have to press the red button, and then when you're finished recording the video, you press stop. It does this processing step, and then it shows you the video in this window. And you can do a little video editing, like not cropping, but just like shortening it or that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then you go up here to share, and you select YouTube, and you put in your YouTube account, and in 10 seconds, it copies a link to the video to your clipboard. So the next thing you do, you want to show someone that video, you go to an email, you paste the link in, and that link shows them the video. That's how easy it's made. Now, this is cool for showing a YouTube video, but imagine this you're doing something on your computer and you want to show someone, not a snapshot, but you want to show them how you do something. So it's going to capture your cursor, the program changing, everything that I showed you today. I'm recording it through GoToMeeting, and we're going to have a recording of this, but you could have done this just using Snagit. Easier, actually. So that's I thought that was really cool. That's recording video with and So yeah, I wanted to show you that. So
My mind is blown. That is
yeah,
so cool.
yeah, and easy, and it's stable, and it's just made that so easy. That's why I've become a Snagit evangelist, because I think it like multiplies what we all have learned to do with computers by allowing you to share things with people. So let's just look at a few more of these tools. You've seen most of it already. Um, just some handy tools, like if you wanted to fill in this white space with red, you go here to the fill tool and you click. Oh, actually, it's on a different layer. Um,
Okay.
I think it's
That's really handy. You can overlay something and like color it out.
yep, yep. You can fill things in with that. Um, moving is just basically if you happen to be on a tool that doesn't allow you to grab objects, you go to move, and then you can move any of the objects that you made. Um, Selection is necessary for some of the tools. Like for example, there's um, there's a blur tool, which there it is. So if you go like this, everything within the no, no, I guess I'm wrong about that. The blur tool you just drag, and
Okay.
it blurs whatever you.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, get faces out, like, to keep feel
Yeah,
like you not violate HIPAA.
exactly. If you had a an X-ray and you wanted to blur out the name of the patient,
Yeah.
that's handy. Um, Crop is something that you'll use. So let's say you only wanted to show people a part of this image. So you have the crop tool, and these little X's, little boxes appeared, and you go like this, and then you crop it, and it made it smaller. It cropped it. Any place you are in this, you can undo. So you have undo and redo here. So I want to uncrop it. I want to recrop it. You know, you have, you know, you're never locked into something that you do. Um, this is actually for certain things. This makes it so easy. So this is a tool called Cutout, and watch what this does. So I'm going to go here, and I want to cut out this much of the picture and bring. You see how it's divided into three parts?
Yeah.
It's going to bring part one together with part three, and it took the middle out. Um,
That's cool.
just a handy thing. I showed Ben. I'm not going to bore you with this, but I showed there's a thing that I do periodically where I take a graph and I show it to people of the registrations for our meeting, and this makes it so easy to take out the part that they don't need to see and just show them the part that I want them to see.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Drawing tools. So you have a pen tool where you can, so if you need to have a little bit more creative control of what you make, what you're showing people, you can do that. Um, you can make lines, and of course these are all objects. So after you make them, you click on the line, and then I can change the width of it, for example, or I can change the opacity, just like the arrows. Um, um, there's a highlighter tool, so you can go like this, or do like yellow highlighting, which is handy sometimes.
Huh.
Um, and there's an eraser, so if you want to, you can just erase anything on the screen. Um, I think the one thing I didn't show you that I want to is I'm still in the eraser tool. I'm going to go back to the move tool. So if Oh, I showed you the layers. So I showed you the range where you can bring stuff to the front.
Yeah.
The only thing that I haven't shown you is flatten. Um, I'm not sure I can think of an example now, but so this is an individual image now, the arrow. But if you wanted to make it so that it's merged into the image, and I can't think of a reason why you'd want to do that right now, but I know I use this. So you go like this, and now it's part of the underlying image. You can't move it as an object. And
No, that's great. I've had to do something like that before, where at the end of editing the image, I don't want it to be able to be moved. Just I want to make it part of the image, so I've had to snapshot it.
Yep.
And this is doing that for you, so that's really good. It's good to have that.
One other thing that I wanted to point out, so you have all the images that you've used here, and sometimes you want to put images together. So you've gone to, let's say we went to this website, the YouTube, and we took a screenshot of this, we took a screenshot of this, we took a screenshot of this, and then we wanted to put them together. So they are all individual images here, the last few images. So let's say I wanted to put this image on top of this image. So you go here, you do Control A to select it, and this is where the selection tool is, you go here with the selection tool and you select this part of it, and then I Control C, I copy it to the clipboard, I go to this image, and then I Control V and put it on top of there. So you now have complete control of all the images that you've captured, and you can move them together. You used to be able to select copy an image into another image and then resize it in that image. For some reason, it's not letting me do that anymore. It may be a bug in the program. You can move it around, but I can't see any way of resizing it. You know what it actually did? It brought more than one layer in.
Yeah, I see.
You see how that's... so I'm going to go here and I'm going to flatten this. And now it made it... Oh, I flattened the whole thing. Instead of... I wanted to flatten just because maybe it wasn't selected. I'm going to select that part and flatten it. No, the same thing happened. So it handles, even though we moved a few different objects in. Once it was in this image, we couldn't move them individually.
Is there a way to put both of those images side by side so that they would be, sitting sort of like next to each other?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you pointed that out. So let's use two simpler images to do that. We have these two images, which are approximately the same size, I think. So let's say I wanted to put Dr. Pimple Popper next to the Tobro. So I go to the Tobro, I go up here to Image, and then I select Resize Canvas. The canvas is, as opposed to the image, is sort of the background, right? So it gives you this little 9-part thing. And since I want to add the blank space where I'm going to add the new image to the right of it, I move this to the left. So what I'm going to add in width is going to go to the right side. And then I go to the width up here, and let's say we want to just about double this. I'm going to change it from 1200 pixels to 2500 and then click OK. And it added additional canvas over here. So now I'm going to go back to Dr. Pimple Popper. I'm going to do Control A, or I could have done the selection, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to Tobro, and I'm going to paste it. And there it pasted. Now you see the controls on this? So it looks like the original image, the Dr. Pimple image, was bigger than the Tobro, so it came in bigger. And this is where you really need to change the size of it, but it's not really. Is it letting me?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's
No, it's
taking
not.
the whole thing.
It doesn't do that anymore. What I really want to do is grab this corner of it because there's more to the image here, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's not letting me do that. So that's something.
Is it possible that you have to pull the image you can see out towards the larger one? I mean, I know that you wouldn't necessarily want to do that, but
Yes, yes, you are right.
so maybe you would make the Tobro larger in order to make the two equal.
It looks like you can make it bigger, but you can't make it smaller, sort of. So the only way that I can think of to do what we wanted to do here, let me go back enough steps so that I can undo this. Take this out, go back until I didn't, yeah, okay. So what we can do, we know the size of this image now because we just resized it, but I don't remember, so let's go to resize the canvas. And so this canvas is a height of 654 and a width of 2500. So we want to make the height of the other image 654 to fit in here nicely. So we'll go to this image, and this time we're going to resize the image, not the canvas, and we're going to make the height 654 so it matches up.
Oh, it's keeping like the width and the height the same ratio, like the aspect ratio.
That's right. Except I just crashed the program.
That's okay.
I just totally crashed the program because I put too many digits in here. I think. Let's see if it. No, it doesn't let me get back. Hopefully, I didn't crash the whole computer. Let's see if our session.
Well, we know your computer's still running because your video is that we're still on this.
We were pretty close to the end of the demo anyway.
Yeah, a little playing around. I could definitely see where this is really good. So, did you guys use Snagit for Ben's ultrasound ones, where there's kind of two videos side by side, or was that where the guys used like Photoshop or something?
That was fancy stuff using a program called Adobe Premiere that my video guys use.
Oh, okay.
You can do anything in video and more than as you can do with still images.
Mm-hmm.
So this program doesn't, Snagit doesn't allow you to do that much video editing, just a little bit that we saw. So putting videos, two moving objects next to each other is beyond its scope.
Okay.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's really I have a good time with this program. Let me see if I can get it back working again. So I just did a capture view on the other screen, and let's see if the editor comes up. No, I think I blew its mind. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there you are. We're back.
Right. It captured me. Great.
So yeah, that's I think that's pretty much Snagit. It's you'll have a long flight back to California, and make sure your computer's charged up. You'll have a lot of time that you can play with it. And by the time you land, you're going to be an expert.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Do you know, does it have a thing where you can turn, like if you take an image and you can turn it into like a cartoon or a graphic?
Filters? No, it doesn't have filters.
Okay.
The only thing that I would consider a filter is this blur tool.
Okay. Right.
Because it's sort of modifying the underlying picture. It's a combination of what's called a raster image and a vector image program. Raster image is like Photoshop, where it's basically a complex set of pixels on the screen, and you're adding objects to it,
Okay.
or manipulating that, not really adding objects. And a vector program like I can't even think of the name of it, but Adobe's got one of those too, where you add objects and then you can move those objects around.
I see.
All of these really sophisticated programs, all the the Adobe suite are a combination of both. But this one is mostly a vector program. It doesn't let you. I don't even think there's a way of like like a lot of programs let you darken and lighten an image and that kind of thing. I don't even think there's a way of doing that with this. Let me see if no, like you can't edit the underlying image. So if you need to do something like that, you need to um, use another program, and then you do a capture of it to bring it into Snagit.
Okay.
And by the way, you can, once you have an image that's been saved on your, let's say you saved an image. Let's say you went to a web page, like any old web page, and there was an image on the page, and you wanted to open that in Snagit, and you went here, then you just like saved an image as, and we'll just save this to some place, and we'll just call it 1. It looks like the only way we can save this is as a PNG. And then you go into Snagit, and you can go up here like any image editing program, and you can open that image.
Yeah.
And then we have that image open. So in that respect, anything that you do in another program, another graphics program, you can edit in this program by opening it, or you can also just capture it. If you see it on your screen, you can capture it. Now wait a second. Here's some other things that I've never played with. You can export, duplicate, open. This is what you were asking for. Image, tools. So those are the tools we just used. Here's effects. So so let's say, these are all the effects that it gives you. Color replacement, filters, shadow. Some of these are cool. Look at this thing. Page curl.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's other stuff to play with. I don't even use these things, so I forgot about it.
Definitely to explore.
Yeah, there's more to play with here. You can do stuff like this. Flip it horizontally. Yeah, there's some other image manipulation here. The one thing I was looking for, though, which was like changing the like darkness and lightness or contrast. I don't see color adjustment. Color adjustment, and I got this menu. Here it is. Brightness. You can do this stuff. Contrast. So it's got some basic tools for doing color adjustment.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things I was thinking about for the newsflash was I've noticed that infographics, I'm sure they're huge. Everybody's using them, and we're seeing more and more of them, even through medicine. So I thought that might be a nice addition. I'm not a graphic artist, so I'm thinking, oh, what are the easiest ways to do it? And it seems like things like capturing an image and then sort of turning that type of thing into an infographic would be kind of like a nice way to add some content.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've admired these, and as have I. I basically think of this as a way of putting a bunch of information in an image really concisely to teach or to communicate.
Right.
You can actually learn a lot by looking at good infographics on how to present information, because they're all sort of great examples of that. If you go to Google and you look at, I mean, and some of them are better than others, but they all manage to get a lot of information on a screen at one time.
Right.
And yeah, we can learn a lot from these. We're here at Present. We're real, students of presenting stuff digitally with images, and we're constantly learning. And there isn't a week that goes by that I don't see something in my email or on a web page that I don't use Snagit to capture, and I send it to my guys here. I say, I go to in my email, and I get someone else's ad for a conference, um, and there's something I like about that ad, and I take a picture of it with Snagit and I send it to them, so that we'll use that technique in in the next thing that we do.
Mm.
It's just the thing that I like about Snagit is it lets you share with people things that you see on your screen just as if they're sitting next to you, but you share it through email or through sharing a link to it.
Yeah.
I'm really amazed that I put the word conference in here, and I'm not. Okay, here's a conference email from the Alliance for CME, and this isn't a particularly good one, so I wouldn't share this one. But when I see one that's good, I you know what it is? The word conference is in almost everything that we send out. So these are all of our own.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, they're all over there. But yeah, I mean, there's just I think this is becoming a very important tool of being able to create graphic images to teach people stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we've been trying to do some work along this route for the clinic. So I'm sure you're aware ACFAS has their materials that you can hand out to patients. But the thing about those is that they're really text heavy. And most of my patients are not going to sit and read through a primer on bunions. So something like this where you take different things, put it together, and make it much cleaner, simpler, more fun to look at, is a better educational tool. So I have the residents working on that. So we're gonna use that in clinic, and then we use Epic for our medical record system, and when you're done, you have to print out a summary, an after visit summary for the patient. So we're gonna import that into it, and I'm thinking, let's do it as more of an infographic. It would definitely be easier. But I'm also thinking about it from in terms of the news flash. If there's just some piece of information that we want to like really quickly send to people so that they have 15 seconds, they go and look at this.
I want to make this the news flash much more image intensive than it is now. Um, and this is the way of us working with you. So you can now capture high quality images to go in Practice Perfect. You don't have to rely on us to to find images for you. You can send them to us. Um, Pictures help to tell a story. As well or better than text does. So you've
Yeah,
now
definitely.
And we all have virtually in our pocket um, a bank of images of everything in the universe. We do have to be very very careful about copyright.
Yeah, right.
So I can teach you how to use a service that we have gotten to love called iStock Photo.
Hmm.
So we have an account with iStock Photo. I will give you access to my account. Um, and iStock Photo is a way to purchase an image of anything you ever want. So, I mean, it's incredible. So it's too much to use. It's such a great resource, and we have a subscription now because we use it so much, which is not expensive. It's affordable, and what we do when we're looking for an image is my guys make a thing called a board. So, like for example, here's a when we do a lot of a lot of work with practice management. So we did a search on practice management images, and we liked a lot of them, but we weren't going to use them, so we made a board. And these are all the practice management images that we have found that we thought that later we may want to use. So you can have access to our boards, and you can make another board. You can look through the pictures, and you can say, well, I just wrote about, orthotics. Here are some images that I found of orthotics. Which one do you think, would be best? Or we can do the search, and we can show you the board. Just out of curiosity, what happens? Do they use the common word orthotic? They even have orthotics with an S. So that word is in the vernacular now. Um, and these are all images that we know are not going to be copyrighted. That's the benefit of this versus going to Google Images and just, taking an image.
Yeah, no, that's great. So a question I have is, if you see part of one of these images and you want to say snag it to capture just part, like that graphic one that shows the black and white images,
Uh-huh.
if you wanted to just take maybe like the knee in that picture, is that violating any of the agreement with them, right? Do you have to use the entire picture or can you use it in pieces?
You can use it in pieces, but we have to buy the whole thing.
Right, I understand.
Buying the
Okay.
whole thing is fine. So the process of buying is we click on it like this. Usually it comes up with like a watermark. For some reason, this one's not. And then we download this image, and it charges us a certain amount of credits. This one looks like, for some reason, it's not even giving me the price here, which
It says included with your subscription. I'm wondering if
that
there's a certain amount of it that's just part of your subscription.
that's apparently what this one is. And
Yes, like, I'm thinking if I was going to create an infographic, I might maybe take that foot that's in the bottom of the image,
mhm.
and I might get download the whole thing, but then take a part of it and maybe use that as a part of the infographic, for example.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens when we download this. I just downloaded a very high quality version of this. It didn't charge me. It's included with my subscription. I'm clicking on it, and there it is. So so if you wanted, let's say you just wanted to use this, I would go up here to the Snagit capture widget. I would capture it. I would do that, and there it is in Snagit.
Nice.
Yeah, so for most of these, though, I think we have to buy them, and but we bought like a minimal account, and I'll have to ask Richie how much of that account we're using. I'm certainly thrilled to buy anything that we're going to use, but if we're not going to actually use it in a publication, if it's just to do like proofing and stuff, if you wanted to show me, well, like for example, if you wanted to, I'm going to set you up with an account on here, So let's say you wanted to consider this image and two other ones to use in your upcoming piece, right? So is this one included also? Stock image.
Yeah, it looks like it.
This is something new to me. So as part of this account, so then it doesn't matter. Then you can, um, another thing you can do, but I'm hesitant to do this, is, you can just snag any of these thumbnails to show us, but it's a little inefficient because it doesn't come along with the identifying information. So you can tell us, well, I took this image from iStock Photo, but then how do we find it?
Yeah, I think I'd have to tell you what search I used or something along the like some description.
I think the best thing to do is to put it on a board. So,
Yeah.
you would create a board here, call it Jarrod stuff, and and that's a board for you. And how do we put this image on a board? So we made that board. Um, oh, we click. There it is.
Oh,
Um,
say.
you go like this, and it defaulted to Jarrod's stuff, but you can put it on any of these boards.
Yeah, I see the drop down arrow too. Yeah.
Yep. So now I put that on Jarrod's board, and now when I go to Jarrod's board, um, uh,
It
wait,
shows up.
Jarrod's board.
I think that's the only thing that's there, would be my guess.
That's the only thing that's there. But if we put another one there, then you'd see both of them, and that's the way. And this way, we can see it and we can click on it and then buy it and download the high res version of it and do all that from the board.
Yeah, that's an easy way to communicate it.
Yep.
Okay.
So iStock Photo, when you get back, just I'll set this up for you tomorrow, and you'll have access to all this.
Okay, thanks. That's great.
All right. Well, it's 6:30, and I got to get home because I got a phone call at 7.
Okay. Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. This was a good session, and this is your board, by the way. I was in the wrong place. This is what it looks like.
Okay.
And let me know your thoughts, and we'll work on that article next week.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm planning to come up with a list of questions for her too tonight. And I'll reply to your email as well to them and see. I think it'd probably be just a more natural if I can just sit down with her and have a conversation, but I don't know what her schedule is, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I get the feeling that she was easier than Brad. But Brad's on vacation, so his time is his own. He told me that he wants to talk next week. He'd be willing to talk next week while he's still on vacation. So
Taking a good long vacation.
yeah, he's taking I think it's a 2-week vacation. So it's
Wow. Yeah.
good.
That's nice.
Yeah, I admire that.
Yeah, I've taken one of those in I think it's about 40 years. I took 2 week. That last one we did to
From your role models. You need to take more vacation.
yes, you're absolutely right.
Quality of life.
Okay, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you taking the time.
And have a good meeting with your ACT phone buddies.
I hope so.
Okay.
Have a good night.
You too.